Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Don't Kid Yourself, Real Cars, Real Responsibility, the 100 Deadliest Days of Summer. I'm Mary McGuire, Director of Public and Government Affairs at AAA Northeast, and thanks so much for joining us as AAA launches a summer-long campaign to keep teens safe on our roadways. All of us who work in traffic safety know that the days spanning Memorial Day to Labor Day are the most dangerous for teens for many reasons. But new AAA research tells us that in the 10 years from 2010 to 2019 here in the US, more than 7,000 people died in crashes involving teen drivers, an average of more than 7 people every day each summer for a decade. Joining us today to discuss this vitally important issue are Rhode Island Department of Transportation Director Peter Alviti and Massachusetts Highway Safety Director Jeff Larson. And we will hear from both of these traffic safety leaders in just a few minutes. But first, I'd like to introduce Diana Gugliotta, our Senior Manager of Public Affairs at AAA. Diana and her terrific outreach team are staging a summer-long campaign that aims to engage the parents of teen drivers every single day this summer. Here to tell us more about this new initiative is Diana Gugliotta. Hi, Diana.
Thank you, Mary. Thanks so much. Good morning. I know that you and Directors Alviti and Larson all agree that as traffic safety advocates, we constantly review data. And in fact, we're speaking out today because of this disturbing data trend. Teenage drivers, seemingly with their whole lives ahead of them, are involved in fatal crashes at an alarming rate during the summer months. So just consider the fact that 72% of 16 to 18-year-old drivers admit to risky behaviors like distracted driving and speeding and not wearing seatbelts. Each year at AAA, we work very hard to spread the message about teen driver safety, but this year in particular, we knew we needed to do more. This is the summer that basically we have all been waiting for. Restrictions have been lifted and vaccination rates have increased. People are absolutely anxious and excited to reunite and celebrate with family and friends and see each other's faces again. But those of us who keep an eye on the data know that with these celebrations and when teens are out of their daily routines of school and extracurricular activities, when they have unstructured time, they drive differently, especially when they have other teens in the vehicle with them. Their crash risk is going to significantly increase. Just for an example, compared to having no passengers in a vehicle with them, a teen driving just one passenger younger than 21, it increases their crash risk by 44%. And having 2 passengers doubles their risk. Ironically, having an adult in the vehicle who's older than 35 is going to reduce their risk. So this is so important. You know, in 2020, we saw a sharp decrease in vehicle miles traveled due to the pandemic, yet we watched crash rates increase. And with serious injuries and fatal crashes involving impaired driving also increased. So as teens take to the road this summer, we need parents to be vigilant in monitoring their teen drivers, discussing the risk, and really getting behind the wheel and practicing with them even more. So AAA's response to knowing we need to do more this year is our 100 Deadliest Days campaign, and it targets parents. Parental involvement makes a difference in the safety of young drivers. So like you said, Mary, every day from Memorial Day until Labor Day, we'll be sharing content on AAA's Facebook page. So I encourage the parents of teen drivers to follow us at AAA Northeast on Facebook. And if social media isn't your thing, this content will also be available on our website at AAA.com/deadliestdays. And the content that you can anticipate digs deeper than just messaging about the statistics and high-risk behaviors. The content will offer timely and practical information that parents can use to prepare their teens. Some examples are webinars and videos about all the new apps and technologies that parents can use to monitor their teen drivers. We're going to talk about how ADHD contributes to crash risk, how to cope with driving anxiety, which is more common than you would think. There's a lot of information coming out that we'll be sharing about marijuana impaired driving as well. We often discuss that this generation of new drivers is the first to get licensed at a time where recreational marijuana is now legalized or looking to be legalized. And it's certainly more prevalent now than ever in impaired driving crashes. We're also going to address distracted driving and the way that teens are actually using their phones behind the wheel. They're recording themselves. So the message, don't text and drive, doesn't really resonate with these kids. So we say, don't story and drive. Also content on how to develop parent and driving contracts, to be proactive about setting expectations and limitations, warning them what will cause them to lose their privileges. So much of the content we'll share is generated by the questions that we receive from our members and from parents, and also from the data and research that we've conducted through the AAA Foundation for Traffic Safety. To launch the campaign, the first week of June, we'll be offering Facebook Live events so families can ask questions in real time about the licensing process in each of our states for teens, and also review the graduated driver license laws, or what they call the junior operator laws in Massachusetts. These are restrictions that parents didn't grow up with. So many parents are unaware of these laws. So the process for teen licensing in Rhode Island discussion is scheduled for June 1st, and for Massachusetts on June 2nd, both at 3:30 on AAA Northeast Facebook account. And we just hope that by receiving new information and resources daily, that parents will keep these issues top of mind and continue the dialogue with their teens throughout the summer. I think for any parents who might be watching, I just want to tell you to please continue to get into that car and coach your teen on driving skills, even after their license. That piece of plastic comes with an overconfidence. And 40 or 50 hours of practice before a road test is just not sufficient. It's not a sufficient amount of time to give them the experience that they'll need to make them safe drivers. We never start a brand new job and work a 40-hour work week and think that we're experts at that new job. So I try to relate it to that. And also the decision on whether or not a teen is prepared for the responsibility of driving should be really deeply considered. It's more than a milestone birthday, turning 16, or completing driver ed. There needs to be a commitment on the part of both the parents and the teens to invest the time in building safe skills. It takes 5 years to do that. And the last piece of information that I want to share is, basically it comes from a question that I've received repeatedly from parents. I hear it all the time. What do I do if my son or daughter just won't follow the rules? What if I know they're holding their phone, or they're speeding, or they're not wearing a seatbelt? And I just want to equip parents with this piece of information. Should a situation arise like that, the parent or guardian who has signed their minor's application for a driver's license can actually forward a letter or form withdrawing their consent to the DMV or RMV and have their child's driver's license revoked. So because the parent, it requires the parent's consent to grant a minor permission to drive, they have the right to revoke the driving privileges at any time for any reason. It doesn't take the judiciary or law enforcement to make that call or get involved in that process whatsoever. When you put a teen behind the wheel, they're responsible not just for their own safety, but for the safety of all their passengers and all the other roadway users. So finally, as parents ourselves, when we speak about teen drivers, we realize that we're talking about people's sons and daughters. We are begging parents to stay involved, especially at this time of year, and especially during this unique period in time where people are driving more aggressively. We want to celebrate this summer, so we need to do all we can to protect our young drivers and remind parents that they have more power than they realize. Yeah, I always say the sweetest sound a parent can hear once their child starts driving is the sound of them pulling into the driveway at the end of the day. So thank you so much for this opportunity, and please follow us at AAA Northeast on Facebook or at AAA.com/deadliest days. Thanks, Mary.
That's right, Diana, the sweet sound of them coming in the front door safely, right? You're
Yes.
absolutely right. Great advice and information, and we look forward to the start of the campaign. Director Peter Alviti joined RIDOT in 2015 and quickly worked with the governor and legislature to create RoadWorks, a 10-year plan to fund the state's transportation network and to make long overdue improvements to roads and bridges. To date, RIDOT has overseen 224 projects, but during his tenure, Director Alviti has also demonstrated a longstanding commitment to traffic safety. Safety is RIDOT's highest priority, and under Director Alvidi's leadership, the agency has developed a 10-year safety plan and invested millions of dollars into public safety campaigns to change the behaviors that lead to injury and death. The most recent campaign is called The Wish, a series of compelling video advertisements that show all the wishes that die when someone is killed on our roadways. RIDOT also spends about $1.4 million each year to fund a state police task force dedicated to impaired driving enforcement. Please welcome RIDOT Director Peter Alvidi.
Thank you, Mary, and thanks everyone here. These events are always very special to me. Ultimately, we're out there as RIDOT rebuilding bridges and roads, but at the core of our culture here at DOT is our concern for the safety of everyone that rides on our roads. And next week will be the last week in May, and next weekend will be the official start of summer. So we're also relieved and grateful that this summer, unlike last year, will be one where we're able to get out and about, walking, swimming, cycling, driving, and enjoying ourselves again. And that's part that is more than just a little bit scary here at DOT. At RIDOT, we're seeing our traffic numbers returning back to normal in terms of the volume of traffic on the roads. And right when we're going into what is traditionally the deadliest season of the year, the 100 days between Memorial Day and Labor Day. I don't like to be a pessimist or a downer to talk about the bad things that happen in a joyous moment, right? It's spring, summer is about to break, and there's great weather, and there's a lot to be very optimistic about. But we all need to be very diligent, because that optimism and joy can be spoiled and eliminated if we lose a loved one or one of our children or one of our friends or family out on the road. Our young people will be out in force, and they should be. That's why today's event is focused on young drivers. Drivers who've been cooped up for a year, they've been wearing their masks, working or going to school remotely, plagued by uncertainty. We want you all, I'd love for you all to have the best summer of your life this summer. So first, we need you to consider the numbers. And these are the realities. And I know teens are not great, or young people aren't necessarily great. I wasn't great on thinking about these kinds of numbers, but they're important. The first big number is the increase in highway fatalities over the last 2 years. Partly, I think, caused by many of the conditions surrounding the pandemic. We ended 2020 with 67 fatalities compared to 59 the year before. And of those 67 people who died, 27 of them occurred during the summer months. Of the 59 fatalities in 2019, 19 took place during these 100 deadly days. This year isn't trending much better, I'm afraid. So far, we've had 24 fatalities this year compared to 19 at the same time last year. So it's trending to be even worse than last year. Our goal is always to have 0 every year, year in and year out, to have our young people still be with us at the end of these 100 days, enjoying their lives and us enjoying them. Yet the numbers remain stubbornly the same, despite millions of dollars that RIDOT invests in education, advocacy, enforcement. Each year we spend about $3 million on public media campaigns alone to keep driver safety upmost in the minds of people who get on our roads. Many of you have seen our Ripple Effect ad series that dramatizes the impact of traffic deaths on first responders, on families, on friends, on coworkers and classmates. Our goal, And we're hoping that you joined with us because we need your help on this. Our goal together should be never to have to make another ad like those. We augment the media campaigns with an annual investment of $1.4 million to fund a dedicated impaired driving task force operated by the state police. And this task force is very effective. Since this task force started in November of 2019, the state police have made 860 arrests, mostly on driving under the influence. Because our concentration on highway safety, we're often asked, what is the causes of these crashes? And the answer is always the same. It's drinking, it's using drugs, it's not wearing a seatbelt, and it's speeding. Four things that are very preventable. Every single one of these variables can be controlled. We all remember what it was like to be young. I actually do remember, even at the advanced age that I'm at, right? I remember the summer coming. I had a motorcycle. I remember myself enjoying that ride to the beach or into the country. When I was young and when our young people are in that age category, you're sure nothing bad can happen to you. And they don't dwell on the bad things that can happen or that would make them a bit more cautious in their actions. So that's left to us older people, right? And as parents, to be able to provide that insight to them. So my appeal today is to the parents of those beautiful, energetic young people. Sit them down. Let them know that how precious they are to you. Ask them to call you if they need a ride home. Ask them to put on a seatbelt. Ask them to drive at a reasonable speed. Because as our ads say, when a person dies in a crash, the ripples go on for years. Let's make this summer a summer without the ripples of grief. Let's have our children enjoy the summer and our young people out there in force enjoying the wonders of the state of Rhode Island and having a grand old time for themselves. So we enlist your help and support. We can't do this alone here at DOT nor at the state police. We need your help, and we're asking that you intercede. Have that discussion, stay on them, be diligent, and I'm sure with everybody's cooperation and everybody's help, we can get through this summer and have a great time with our goal of everybody still being here with us, all of our loved ones still being here with us at the end of the summer. Thanks for this opportunity to talk to this very important issue.
Thank you so much, Director, for your appeal to parents, and best of luck with your traffic safety awareness campaigns this summer. Jeff Larson is Director of Highway Safety for the Massachusetts Executive Office of Public Safety and Security, Office of Grants and Research, Highway Safety Division. He previously served as the President of Safe Roads Alliance. Jeff has 20 years of experience as a traffic reporter and announcer in Boston and throughout New England. He is a longtime advocate for safer driving in Massachusetts and helped pass the ban on texting and driving in 2010. We worked with Jeff and his team from 2016 to 2018 during the 100 Deadliest Days of Summer to demonstrate the importance of seatbelts by moving a crashed car across Massachusetts to schools, libraries, and police departments. Please welcome Highway Safety Director Jeff Larson.
Thanks, Mary, and thanks everybody at AAA. It's a great partnership we've had over the years, and it's greatly appreciated. We also will be participating in 100 Deadliest Days on our social media throughout the summer, so look at our website and as well as our social media on both Facebook and Twitter for some of that information. I'm here in two capacities, both as the Director of Highway Safety, but also as the parent of a teen who's just days away from taking his driving test in Massachusetts. So if anyone in Watertown at the RMV is watching, we're still working on the parallel parking. Hopefully you'll give us a break. So the data is, the reality of it is that crashes are the leading cause of death for teens, not only in Massachusetts, but across the country. And inexperience is really the leading factor in those crashes. Inexperience leads to all of the challenges that Director Alavidi was we're talking about, and Diana and Mary as well. From 2010 to 2019, about a third of all the teen driver involved fatal crashes took place over the summer months. So a quarter of the year, a third of the crashes. We've lost 147 young drivers on Massachusetts roads since 2015. And drivers from 15 to 20 years of age represent 6.4% of drivers, but they also represent 11.4% of fatalities. So younger drivers are overrepresented, and that's what we're trying to address here, specifically talking to parents. And in terms of passengers, and Diana was referencing this before, having 2 or more passengers more than triples the risk of having a fatal crash. And male teen drivers were almost 6 times more likely to perform an illegal maneuver and twice more likely to act aggressively before a crash when they're driving with other teen passengers. So it's just incredibly important that parents stay involved in the process, that they know what their teens are doing after their license, know who they're driving with, and know the conditions of which they're driving. So as everyone's been talking about, we're really trying to reach out to parents in this conversation. In Massachusetts, the RMV, at the time that somebody gets their learner's permit, they provide a program called the Parent Supervised Driving Program, which ideally is going to be handed to the parents to be able to say, okay, your teen is starting to drive right now. Here's a reference book for you to have some information about the best way to make sure that you are getting your teens experience the best experience before they start driving on their own. Because what often happens is that parents will pay money for driver's ed and say, okay, that's your job. But the reality of it is, it's really parents' job to make sure that their teens are getting that experience. Driver's ed is critically important, but it can only do so much. So parents need to make sure that they are driving with their teen as much as possible. In Massachusetts, we have a 40-hour requirement during that learner's permit phase. And 40 hours is not nearly enough. Parents need to get into their head, they need to drive 100, 200 hours before their teen gets their actual driver's license. And one other thing that parents can think about is in Massachusetts, you have to hold the learner's permit for 6 months. Hold it for longer, hold it for a year. Use that time to get more experience before they get their driver's license. Another tool that the RMV provides in Massachusetts is a mobile app called Road Ready. It's downloadable on iPhone and Android, and that tracks the driving time that you're spending with your teen. So you get in the car, you press start, you put it away, and that's all you need to do. And it provides an accurate reference to how much time you're spending with your kid. That, by the way, it works in all 50 states. It works in Rhode Island, and it knows how many hours you need in Rhode Island versus Massachusetts because it's not all the same. And it lets you know when you reach that goal. And then you can print it off and you can take it into the at the time to verify that you completed those hours. But it's a great tool because it's accurate and it's really helpful. So again, the app is called Road Ready, and you can get it either on the iTunes or on as an Android device as well. Just trying to think, there were a couple other things I wanted to say. So you want to make sure, parents want to make sure that during that learner's permit period, they're not only practicing 40 hours, but they're doing it in the widest variety of conditions. You're doing it in the rain, you're doing it on heavy traffic and light traffic, you're doing it on all different types of roadways, but you're also driving in unfamiliar areas as well, because you want your team to get experience in all of those conditions with you in the passenger seat before they start doing that on their own. Because if they're on their own, they've never experienced something and you're not there to help them through the process. One of the challenges right now, if somebody's getting their learner's permit, is that by the time they're eligible to get their driver's license in 6 months, they will not have driven in snow. Snow is an important thing for them to learn how to drive in. So again, parents, it's your job. You need to make sure that they're learning everything that they can. And as Diana and Mary said, after they've started to drive, make sure you have a contract. Make sure you know what they're doing as well through that process. So thanks AAA for allowing us to participate, and thanks for working so hard on the 100 Deadliest Days of Summer and all the programs that you do. We value your partnership.
Thank you, Jeff. We value your partnership at EOPS as well, and great information, great advice, and we wish your son good luck in his parallel parking.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks.
A big thank you to all of our speakers today and to the AAA outreach team that has put this summer-long series of events together. We look forward to the campaign. Please follow us on the AAA Facebook page and at AAA.com/deadliestdays. And parents and caretakers, if there is one vitally important message for you to send to your kids this summer, please model good behavior by always buckling up and talking with your teens and young drivers about the critical importance of wearing a seatbelt every trip, every time. The life you save could be the life of your very own young driver. Let's make these the healthiest, safest days, as Director Alviti said, not the deadliest. Have a safe and happy summer, everyone, and thanks for joining us this morning.